Well, hello and happy Thursday afternoon, everyone. It's digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, where I take you through 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching, of course, thank you for watching and spending just a little of your Thursday afternoon here with me. But now, with all of that said, I say it's time we jump into today's top stories. And of course, starting things off here in Huntsville Hospital officials have announced they are terminating its relationship with United Healthcare, a big decision that got released today. Officials say the decision comes after months of disappointing negotiations between the two. Now, for anyone who uses United Healthcare, you can still go to Huntsville Hospital. However, the insurance would be considered out of network and would cost more for the patient. Now, the decision includes every hospital within the Huntsville Hospital system, which includes Helen Keller Hospital, Decatur Morgan, Highlands Medical Center, and Madison Hospital. 48 has reached out for more information regarding this decision, and we'll be sure to update you as soon as we learn more. But now let's talk about the weather here in North Alabama. 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis has your latest forecast. How's it looking this week, Brad?
We're going to be warming up over the weekend, AJ, and overall tonight, another cool night, especially over northeast Alabama, lows in the 40s. Here's a look at what we are looking at as we go down the road of the post-tropical Milton now. This continues to weaken very quickly, and basically it's just become an ordinary storm. It's weakened so much after running into all that wind shear. So we won't be talking much more about Milton, at least the future of Milton. Grilling forecast this evening. Perfect conditions once again, 70s at 6 o'clock, and then quickly falling back into the 60s. Overnight lows, once again, will be down right around 46 to 50. So another crisp morning out there for your Friday morning. Current temperatures, low 80s. We do expect to warm up into the weekend, 86 on Sunday. So that's almost hot for this time of year, so to speak. But again, overnight tonight, lows back in the 40s, and another big cool down coming next week. Still looking at the potential, I stress potential here, AJ, of a frost in some areas by Wednesday morning. We'll have more on that coming up at 4, 5, and 6.
Wow, it's crazy. We're already talking about a frost. Thank you, Brad. But now in Madison County, a man was arrested after authorities say his baby died from a drug overdose. Now on March 10th, deputies say they were sent to Butter and Egg Road in Hazel Green for a 3-month-old infant who wasn't breathing. First responders were on the scene and tried to save the baby's life. However, the infant was pronounced dead a short time later. Now, in September, detectives were notified about the baby's toxicology report, and the report showed the infant died from a lethal amount of methamphetamine. Now, this is according to authorities. Investigators say they determined the child's father, Sonny Summers Jr., who you're seeing on screen, was using methamphetamine around the infant and then cared for the infant afterward. Now, Summers Jr. was charged with chemical endangerment to a child, which resulted in death. Summers Jr. was booked into the Madison County Jail and later released on a $20,000 bond. But now a story in case you missed it. A Tuscumbia murder suspect is now pleading self-defense. 48's Aria Pons with the story.
These things are just don't happen.
Tuscumbia Police Chief Tony Logan says that the deadly shooting in the neighborhood on Paul E. Johnson Drive is not a normal occurrence. However, on October 6, officers were called to a house for a shooting victim who they later identified as Nathan Littleton. Sadly, Littleton was dead when first responders made it to the scene.
There were 5 gunshot wounds in the victim. One of those gunshot wounds was to the back of the head. We believe that probably it was fatal wounds prior to that, but that's some things that autopsy will help us with.
Officers were told that someone drove off from the scene not long after shots were fired. Williams was tracked down shortly after. Logan says a gun was found after investigators searched Williams' vehicle, adding it's one of the most powerful revolvers made.
That was a Clint Eastwood comment, it's the strongest handgun on earth with a .44 Magnum, and so that's a powerful handgun. and to be shot with a powerful handgun 5 times obviously gives you the, at least not motive, but the motivation that the shooter wanted to make sure that the victim was dead.
Logan says both men were acquaintances, but neither are from Colbert County. He says none of the neighbors should be worried.
You know, we're just hoping to restore some peace back to that part of the neighborhood and make sure that this is an isolated event. This is not something that those that live in that neighborhood should be worried about.
Well, thank you, Aria. Now a tragic situation yesterday as a Grissom High School cross-country runner was severely injured in a hit-and-run on Weatherly Road in Canstatt. 48's Daquan Lee is on your side with more details.
It troubles me greatly that we have people who are willing to hit a child and take off like that without providing any sort of medical attention or calling for help.
Wednesday morning, Huntsville police were called to South Huntsville for a hit and run at the intersection of Weatherly Road and Canstatt Drive. When they arrived, they found a 16-year-old Huntsville City School student athlete who had been hit during his morning practice run. Sam Hawley, who lives on Weatherly Road, believes the city should do more to make it a bit safer.
In my perspective, Weatherly is not very pedestrian friendly or safe. With the amount of traffic that we have from the increase of the growth of the city over the past few years, it's kind of lagging behind with many of the other aspects of infrastructure in the town.
On Wednesday afternoon, Huntsville police arrested 21-year-old Jared Severance for the hit and run. He's been charged with assault and leaving the scene of an accident. George Handel, another resident who lives on Weatherly Road, didn't witness the accident himself, but says he sees drivers speeding in the area all the time and has taken the issue up with city leaders.
Weatherly Road, very rarely do people go 40. I know they get upset with me when I'm driving my 40.
He's calling on Huntsville police to crack down on it citywide.
In the afternoon, you've got people picking up kids at the school right here, and there's one lane of traffic that's closed off. And so people that don't know when they're traveling east on Weatherly all of a sudden come over the hill at Todd Mill and realize there's a whole line of cars that are stopped. So if somebody's not familiar with the area, it's real easy to be involved in an accident quickly.
Well, thank you, Daquan. And today, Daquan will be speaking with the cross-country coach on any updates of the victim's current state. But now staying in Huntsville, Huntsville Utilities customers could be paying more for electricity. A city council meeting will be held tonight at 5:30 regarding this situation. But 48's Callie Neese with more details on Huntsville Utilities.
I share their frustration. I have to pay my bills like anybody else.
City Councilman Bill Kling was on the City Council the last time Huntsville Utilities tried to raise rates back in 2018.
And the City Council voted it down because we thought it was putting too much of a hardship on our existing ratepayers and the low-income people who were involved.
After they denied the rate adjustment, Huntsville Utilities adjusted their proposal and eventually got it approved. Kling adds that he hasn't made up his mind yet on what to do with this proposal, but he asked the utility company to be clear with where all this money is going.
Certainly like to encourage Huntsville Utilities to be transparent, put out what they're going to be using the additional revenue for.
Gary Whitley from Huntsville Utilities told me that this increase is mainly to combat inflation, saying the cost of equipment has gone up.
Nothing is the same price it was in 2018.
Lazaro Garcia is a resident of Huntsville, and he says he would like a full explanation from the utility company on where this money is going.
Everybody says the same thing and everybody uses the same excuse to raise everything, but at the end of the day, everybody's pockets and paychecks haven't raised too.
Kling will be asking questions about this rate increase, and he wants the community to ask questions about it too.
I encourage people to tune in to the City Council meeting broadcast or come down and ask questions. That's what democracy is all about.
Well, thank you. And now in Florida, NBC's Tom Yamas is in hard-hit Sarasota, which took a direct hit from Hurricane Milton.
This morning, storm-weary Floridians waking up to another disaster. Hurricane Milton slamming into Florida's Gulf Coast overnight. A Category 3 hurricane when it roared ashore near Siesta Key, bringing catastrophic storm surge and drenching rain to the region. Water quickly rising, flooding roads and submerging entire neighborhoods, even sparking house fires. St. Petersburg hit with more than 18 inches of rain, intense wind topping 100 miles per hour, causing a dramatic scene at Tropicana Field, which was supposed to house first responders. Wind ripping through the stadium, chunks of the roof hanging off. The stadium had been converted into a 10,000-person staging area, now exposed and scattered with debris. In Sarasota, the monster storm causing a transformer to explode during our live report.
It's starting to turn dire. At first we had, okay, we're gonna go, we gotta go.
Milton's powerful winds snapping trees and flipping cars into homes, even sending a massive crane into the Tampa Times building. And tornadoes posing a major threat. Well over 100 warnings issued Wednesday, the most recorded in a single day in Florida ever.
Like it sounded like a car crash.
Destroying more than 100 homes, ripping off roofs, and completely knocking down homes across the central and southern part of the state. The twisters being blamed for multiple fatalities, one touching down at a senior center in St. Lucie County and leaving this sheriff's station a mangled mess.
It's a 10,000 square foot red iron structure that was housing all of our high water rescue vehicles, was hit by a tornado 50 yards away, and it completely wiped it out.
Nearly 100,000 residents taking cover across the state. President Biden delivering this message.
To the people of Florida and all the impacted states, we've got your back. We've got your back.
Long lines of ambulances sent to evacuate hospitals and senior centers. Some healthcare workers staying behind to care for those who couldn't be moved.
We can rebuild, but saving people's lives is, of course, the most important thing.
Utility crews now beginning the race to restore power and cell service, as National Guard troops from at least 9 states are being deployed to help. Now, after enduring 2 hurricanes in just 2 weeks, many residents worry what this new recovery will involve. Terry Burke's home in St. Pete was ripped apart by Helene.
We lost everything.
She had to evacuate 2 hours away to stay with family.
And you get pretty overwhelmed.
Evacuees also fearing for their neighbors who chose to stay behind.
We'll be there to help them when we come home. We just need to care about one another.
Thank you. Now, the last member of the original iconic Kennedy dynasty, Ethel Kennedy, has died. NBC's Dan Scheinman looks back at the life and legacy of the 96-year-old wife of Robert F. Kennedy.
Ethel Kennedy was the wife of Robert Kennedy and played a key role in a political dynasty. Born Ethel Skakel, she met Bobby Kennedy on a ski trip in 1945. They were married 5 years later and soon started a family. The family kept growing. The couple had 7 boys and 4 girls. She was by her husband's side when he ran John Kennedy's campaign for president in 1960 and consoled her husband when his brother was assassinated 3 years later. She loved the political life and supported her husband as he carved out his own political identity.
There was such excitement and such a feeling that so much had to be done, but it could be done, and he'd get it done.
It was in 1968 when Bobby Kennedy made his own run for the White House. The campaign was passionate and at times frantic. Ethel was with him in Los Angeles when he celebrated a win in California.
My thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there. Thank you very much.
Only to be gunned down moments later. She mourned, and the nation mourned with her. She rarely discussed her husband's death.
There's the difficult part, but then there's also the wonderful part. You know, to remember what he stood for.
In the years that followed the assassination, Ethel Kennedy dedicated herself to her children and grandchildren. She also carried on her husband's commitment to human rights.
But he brought us all along with his enthusiasm and his love of life and his curiosity, and he made everybody feel a part of this battle.
In 2014, President Obama awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
She will certainly be missed. Thank you. Now, if you're a fan of cars and you like films and TV shows such as The Dukes of Hazzard or John Wick, you're certainly in luck because in a few weeks, the first inaugural Tennessee Valley Auto Fest is coming to Wuest Family Field. And not only are there going to be replica cars from both, but also celebrity appearances, good food, and I hear they're even landing a Black Hawk helicopter on the field. I recently spoke with Patrick Zizero with Huntsville City FC, and take a listen to what awesome things will be at the Tennessee Valley Auto Fest. For the whole family?
So first off, we'll have a couple different celebrities there. John Schneider, who played Bo Duke in The Dukes of Hazzard, will be there both Friday and Saturday signing autographs. We'll have a General Lee there behind him that he's the only person that's ever driven, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
We'll have David Ankin, who is the host of the TV show Toy Makers, and we have Steve Menk, who is the host of Muscle Car TV. Both pretty well-renowned car builders in the United States. They'll be there again, signing autographs, talking to people about their cars. They're going to pick their top 10 as well, and we'll give out trophies. A couple other things we have 20 different show cars that will actually be down on our field, and that is a little bit of everything. It ranges from the Street Digger, which is David Ankin's, one of his cars that he actually just finished building. We have a Dale Sr. black number 3 that he won with at Talladega. Poncho Carter's Indy car. So a really wide range. John Wick's Mustang, the stunt car from the movie, will be there as well. Really wide range of cars, kind of something for everyone is kind of what we're shooting for. We're also going to land a Black Hawk helicopter right on the field. So going to be a really cool event, something that, I think that every member of the family, there'll be something there for them.
That is awesome. And when you mentioned when we spoke last month, or a few months ago now, about that Black Hawk helicopter landing on the field, I was like, really? What is the process of that going to look like?
So it'll be there in the morning prior to anyone showing up, but you'll get to get up close and personal. You probably won't get to see it land or see it take off, just for safety, obviously. But you'll get to be right up close and personal to it. There'll be members of the Army National Guard there, kind of talking and showing people the helicopter and just showing it off. So.
Wow.
It's going to be really cool. We're excited about it.
That sounds super awesome. Just that within itself, not even to mention the other stuff that's going to be there, that within itself is a reason to show up to the Tennessee Valley Auto Fest, I would say. Yes, a great time speaking with Patrick for 48 Now. You can watch that full interview on our website at WAFF.com. And make sure to come on out to the Tennessee Valley Auto Fest. It'll be October 18th and 19th at Wuest Family Field. And another thing that's coming up soon at the end of this month is, of course, Halloween. Yesterday, I spoke with author and haunts historian Alan Searcy, who just recently published a book titled Ghost Stories and Graveyard Tales, Alabama. Take a listen to one short little spooky story he had to share of his experience here in the Yellowhammer State. What would you say was the most challenging part of writing the book? And like, where all did you travel here in the state?
I mean, yeah, it's from Mobile to Huntsville, Athens. I mean, it was kind of all over, a hodgepodge. And one of the strangest things is it's never happened. I've written probably over 20. I know I've written over 20 books, and I went down to Montgomery. I guess it was back in May or June to finish it. And I was walking through the cemetery, Westcott Cemetery, Montgomery, where they've had a history in grave robbing. And I'm walking through the cemetery, and there's a busted open grave. And I just kind of looked down and I looked closer, and there was exposed jawbone. And so I took a picture and I sent it to the mayor's office. And said, hey, you guys might want to come fix this. And they assured me that they would. And I mean, they were robbing graves back in the 1800s, and they may still be doing it today. I don't know.
No, thank you. Very creepy indeed, but awesome interview yesterday. Again, that is Alan Searcy. If you're interested in stories just like that here in the state of Alabama, get his brand new book, Ghost Stories and Graveyard Tales, Alabama. And also, of course, the 21st annual Liz Hurley Ribbon Run is coming to downtown Huntsville on October 19th. Take a listen to some advice Liz gives to anyone who's currently battling cancer. Hey Liz, all those people you talked about, the thousands of people you've met, and for anyone out there battling cancer who come to you for advice or for some words, what do you typically tell them?
There is hope. There is hope. There is always hope. And I always instill that in them. I always somehow get around to the question of, are you a person of faith? And I think that is very helpful, you know, for a lot of people there. I tell them there'll always be someone there for them when they feel alone. I tell them the worst part is always at night. The darkest times are truly at night. What else do I tell them? They can always call if they get too down, and they know that. And I tell them to form, one of the most important things is to form a team with your physicians. You may have one, you may have 5. Form a team with them because it's really a team effort. You're not in this alone. They want you to succeed and you want them to succeed. So you have to have a really good relationship with them. You have to be a patient who does follow the recipe they give you. They want you to be what they say compliant. So you need to, you know, to do those things, and they will do their part, you do your part. And I think that's really important. You don't want to just be out there on your own. You want to know that, you know, there's accountability on both parts.
Incredible interview with our own Liz Hurley yesterday, or not yesterday, 2 days ago now. My days are starting to run together. It is the end of the week, that is for sure. But you can watch that full interview on our website right now, and make sure to come on out to the race bright and early, October 19th. But now, let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscast. A baking soda rocket launched today. Get the latest on that. Another story you're just not going to want to miss. The latest on a string of recent thefts going on in Madison. Get that from 48 Savannah Sapp. And finally, what is the 5-minute mental health challenge? Find out tonight in our evening newscast for those stories you're just not going to want to miss. And now it is time. What is it time for? It is time for Facebook fun. Today's 48 Facebook question of the day: what is your favorite Halloween? And let's see what you all had to say. Ooh, there's a few I missed here. Jack Wee says Smarties, absolutely, a classic there. Let's see. Who else commented? Kathy Hale said M&M's. I saw that one. Katie said Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Absolutely. And finally, Deborah said candy corn. An absolute classic. You cannot go wrong with candy corn this time of year. Thank you to everyone who commented. Greatly appreciate it. But with that said, that is it for today's Before the Four. But I want to thank you for sticking around with me and spending a little of your Thursday afternoon here on Before the Four. With that said, that is just about it. But of course, I want to thank you for watching. You all have a great night.